My name is Jim, and I'm an alcoholic and an addict.
Hey, Jim.
I want to thank Mike and Chris for thinking of me, having me out. Thanks everybody for coming out, sticking around. Seems indicative that people are interested and people care. And to be honest, I don't think you could probably overestimate the importance of that, although it may feel that way. So listening to everybody, I'm kind of trying to think what I have to say might fit in and be most useful. And I think the idea that, speaking from the perspective of somebody that's been sober from drugs and alcohol since February 10th, 2003, I was pretty young when I got sober. I think I'd like to focus on the hopeful stuff and the fact that it gets better. Because as somebody who was in the grips of alcoholism and addiction, you just name it. I've been bent on ruination since I came into this place. I don't like reality. It doesn't agree with me. I don't like myself. I heard people talk about self-hatred. Well, yup, that makes sense. It had nothing to do with the conditions I was brought up in. I was surrounded by love. Still have a wonderful, loving family. I just came into this world bent on tearing it all down. That's pretty tough not to conclude, once you become aware of that about yourself, that it's tough not to conclude that maybe you're a total waste and a total piece of garbage and kind of play the part. I've come to believe that we act out our deepest beliefs. And that's probably the best indicator for what somebody believes or not. It's not what they say. It's what do they act out. And the belief that I had was, I'm a waste. I'm a waste. And that's beneath the surface. There was no decision then start to act that out. It's just something that got picked up. I was arrested several times as a young man, and I was sent into rooms of recovery, and I couldn't relate. I saw people that I considered to be lost people. This was in Texas growing up. There'd be a bunch of, half-drunk rednecks, chain smoking cigarettes in a little church hall or something, talking about how terrible life was, and that wasn't attractive. So I want to say that it's not terrible. At 22 years and 2 days into this life, I put my hand up and reached out to somebody because I wanted to finally, the pain and the fear really had become intensified to the point where I wanted something different. I was willing at that point to just concede, okay, I'm never going to have fun again. I was 22 years old, I was living in California and thought, all right, I won't die, but I'll maybe avoid jail, but there it goes, the fun is up. And that ain't how it works, thank God. It's not how it works. And I think it's really, really important to know that, because you're not going to go to a place that you think is essentially a different kind of sentencing. You just won't. You won't. I got friends here, one of whom, good God, man, this knucklehead right here, saved my life not too long ago. I'll get into that in a little bit, but we see each other and we laugh, and it's hugs, and we tell filthy, terrible jokes, and we're there for each other. And when somebody's hurting, we show up, and we look them in the face, and we say, hey man, it ain't what it feels like. And I can tell you from my own experience, what being stuck in the cycle of addiction feels like is it's all over. That's what it feels like. It feels like, so what? I quit. It doesn't matter. And I think that there needs to be a clear and present and evident counter perspective to that, something you can put your eyes on and say, geez, that don't look like it's all over. That seems like life. Just about everybody I know that has real recovery, I don't mean people who have merely abstained, but people who have set about a path of recovery, have a vibrancy to them that's unparalleled. They have an appreciation for the fact that they were dead and now they're living, they're lost, and now they're found, as it goes in the prodigal son. Gee, a bad story to read if you're one of us. This thing doesn't discriminate. It doesn't. Rich, poor, gay, straight, religious, non-religious, black, white, it don't matter. This thing operates the same way. It wants to get you off on your own, and it wants to kill you. And so the first thing that it does very well is it gets you off on your own. And sometimes that might be physically, and sometimes it might just be a sense, an emotional sense and a mindset of, I'm done, I'm on my own, hope and help is not available to me. I'm the worst person that's ever lived. And it cuts us off, right? And one of the first steps to, in my experience, to getting well is to get plugged back in. And I really, really commend the people who say, let's not just keep these discussions within the rooms of recovery. Let's open the doors and let's start making some contact. Because if you're an addict or if you've loved an addict, you know what I'm talking about the venomous isolation. The isolation, the cutting off. Well, that's all being generated by this disease. And to open the doors up and say, let's start making contact again, I think is a good thing. If you're an addict in this room and you want to get sober, let's go. Do it now. There's a lot of people here you can talk to today. It ain't going to be a drag. It's not going to be you forfeiting life. In fact, it's a pretty fair exchange. You give up that which holds you back and kills you, and you get something real in return. I guess in that sense it might not be fair, but it works out in our favor. We're always looking to cheat people anyway, so not a bad deal. The last thing I want to say to people who might be addicts is that's okay. That's all right. I didn't know that. I didn't want to be, I gotta watch my tongue. I didn't want to be the screw up of my family or community. I didn't want my troubles to be known because I didn't know that it was okay to have those kinds of troubles. I'm glad I found out early enough it was, and there were people that reflected back to me. It's okay. It's okay to have that problem. What's not going to work out so well is to go on living under the impetus of that problem. And that thing survives when you cover it up and you keep it hidden from yourself and others. If you're in this room and you love an addict, or you've experienced the loss of an addict, I think that's got to be an even more hopeless feeling. Because addicts don't tend to care about themselves or love themselves as much as they do others. He nailed it with the self-hatred thing. I've lost a pretty fair share of loved ones to variations of this disease. I'm 37 years old. Everybody that I know that I grew up with that's dead now is dead from this. Everybody that's been close to me is died. That means there's some good things happening in the world too, right? Seatbelts, shit like that. Great. But it's odd, man. I come from a little town in Texas where about half the people are doing really well and half the people aren't. And the only thing that's killed the people I grew up with is addiction. So for one time, the cops killed one because he was addicted and attacking them. There's a really frustrating hurdle that you gotta overcome, which is you cannot help somebody that doesn't want to stop. That's tough. So what can you do? I guess would be the question. And to be honest, I don't have very many answers about that. But I know that you can be available. You can be present and loving. And you can do everything you can for yourself to be whole, strong, and to live a life that gives a good example of what's possible. I know that you can do that. Beyond that, I don't know. I think it's too personal. I think there's too many factors involved. For those of you who are here that are in recovery, this is a cool opportunity for us to step it up, I think. In just about every 12-step program that I'm aware of, they have what's called an open meeting. For the public, this might be good. That means it's open to whoever's curious, whoever wants to come sit in. And I would say take advantage of that. Start making bonds with the people that are there because they're in recovery. Understand it. And then I think what could happen over time is that you would know some people to reach out to if someone you love is having a hard time. For those of us that are on the other side of that open door, we are told explicitly in 12-step recovery the way that we stay sober is to get involved with others and to help others. There's nobody I know that's sober in recovery who wasn't helped by somebody initially who didn't know them at all. And the people that helped me get my life together, they loved me before they knew me. I don't mean I had a special place in their heart. I mean they acted out the belief that I was lovable before they knew me. I think probably now more than ever for those of us that are in recovery, we've got to stop with the excuses for why we can't take on a new person, or why we can't make time. My sponsor runs a business, has a wife, has children, has cancer, and I asked him, he sponsors 20 guys, and I said, what the hell? Like, how do you have time for a life? And he said, a funny thing happened. The more people I take on to help, somehow the more time I seem to have. And that's paradoxical, but I've seen it. And I'm trying to follow that model in my own life, and I'm experiencing it. There's not a good reason for those of us in recovery to not get super, super involved the way that the people who saved our ass did with us. One of the things that can, I think, in my experience, prevent me from taking that step is a lingering belief that I ain't shit and I can't help anybody yet. Well, I would bet money that's what the people who helped me thought about themselves too, and they took that action anyway. For people who are in the community at large and you're concerned, so people who aren't addicts and who aren't, meaning actively addicted, or people who aren't in recovery, come around, come get involved with us as much as you can. I'm sure that you all feel just as helpless or hopeless. I don't have any prescription for how to conduct yourself, but I think that there's an experiment that might be worth trying. And I got the idea for it when I was thinking about it from, there was a gentleman who helped forge the American theater. His name was Harold Clurman, and this was in the 20s and 30s. And he said that he thought that the point of the theater was to intensify mankind's desire for living. Oh, I like that. Not bad. And then I kind of backed up and went, well, what if you could say that about art at large? You could, I guess, yeah. And then I thought, I wonder if you could say that about a life. That maybe the point of a life or a community would be to intensify the desire for others to live too. Meaning that in some way you reflect actively that this is a good thing to be alive today. Now, I don't know, I'm certainly not a utopianist, I don't even think that would fit that bill, but I do know that addicts are sensitive to fear, we're easily embittered, we love to blame, we love to pity ourselves, and all these things lead us to kind of give it up and check it out. If you're part of a community and you want to know what you could do, it might be, I don't know, that you could kind of look at the 24 hours you have on any given day and say, is it better for this world and its people and the addicts to fill it with bitterness and fear, divisiveness, and hopelessness, or is there something I could do that would reflect it ain't such a bad thing to be alive. There's a lot of kinks that got to get ironed out. But who am I helping, and what is the message I'm sending with my actions? I think that addicts are sensitive. I think that most people are way more sensitive than we're willing to admit most of the time. And the very, very little bit of encouragement required to set the ball rolling for someone like an addict is something that every single human being possesses. The tiniest bit of encouragement, it might be direct, it might be indirect, it might be through your attitude and living, takes hold in ways I think people can't really ever see. I've heard people describe what's happening as an epidemic, and it certainly is, and that can feel very hopeless. What the hell does anybody do about an epidemic? Here's been my experience, and it's summarized best, I think, by this corny story. Don't string me up for it being corny. It's more true than it is corny, but it is corny. Story goes like this. There's a little guy walking on the beach, and there's a bunch of starfish that have washed up onto the beach. Thousands, hundreds of thousands. And he's chucking them back into the water because they don't do too well in the dirt. And an old, cynical, embittered guy walks up and says, "What the hell are you doing? Look, the thing's littered for miles. There's tens of thousands of them. What are you out here doing? You think it's going to make a bit of difference?" The kid bends down, picks one up, chucks it into the waves, and he says, "It did for that one." That's about as good as I think we could do with something like an epidemic, is to not focus on the size necessarily, at the one-to-one level, and to just see where can I help someone. Because an epidemic is essentially a whole lot of individuals being nailed by this thing. And we're a whole lot of individuals, and there's a way that we can step up and show them strength that we once did not have, and hope that we were certainly divorced from. And we can welcome them into a degree of joy and togetherness that once seemed impossible because it was given to us. That's all I got. Thanks.